Okay, so we're going to talk about duration. Well, first of all, duration means how long. So, of course, we use present perfect a lot to talk about duration. When we use present perfect to talk about how long, the situation is not finished. It's very important that we understand that. When we talk about how long with present perfect, it is not finished. So, now I have a cold. How long? I have had a cold for 2 weeks. I have had a cold. Uh, Now she is in England. So, how long? She has been in England for 6 months. Mary works here. Well, how long? She has been working here since she was 22. And finally, they study English. Well, how long? They have been studying English for 2 months. Now, in my examples, I used examples of present perfect simple and present perfect continuous. Well, with duration, the difference is very easy. Remember back in Unit 2, we studied state verbs. And if you don't remember, state verbs are verbs that we can't see. We can't see the actions. So this means in English we don't say continuous tenses with these verbs. Example, I know, what do I know? I know that movie. Look at me. Can you see the action know? No, you can't see that. So we don't say, I am knowing. We have to say, I know. Continuous is impossible with no. Another example, look at me and tell me, what kind of food do I love? Well, you don't know because you can't see the action love. Um, Now, these are called state verbs. If you want to talk about the duration and with a state verb, you have to use present perfect simple because continuous is impossible with these verbs. Example, how long have you known her? She is sick now. She has been sick for 2 weeks. Uh, Now, the other kind of verbs, dynamic verbs, most verbs in English are dynamic, and that means you can see the action. So, of course, Mark right now is making a video. Mark is talking. Mark is looking at the camera. You can see these actions. That means you can say continuous if they're happening now. Well, if you want to talk about how long, you want to talk about the duration of a dynamic verb, we usually use present perfect continuous. So, you are smoking. Well, how long? How long have you been smoking? She works here. She works here. Well, how long has she been working here? Now they are eating. How long? Well, they have been eating since 12 o'clock. So, state verbs, how long, duration, we use present perfect simple. Dynamic verbs, verbs you can see, we use present perfect continuous to talk about how long. Now, how do you answer these questions? How do you talk about duration? Well, we have two very important prepositions. If you want to say how long, example, 4 hours or 4 days or 4 weeks or 4 years, well, we use the preposition for, F-O-R. And this is talking about how long. Okay, usually we use this with weeks or years or days or how many months. We're talking about how many. Now, if you only want to talk about the start time, we use since. Now, we use since with a start time, so we need a point of time. Example, since yesterday. That means yesterday it started. Since 8 o'clock. Well, that means at 8 o'clock it started. Or since 2007. Well, of course, that means 2007 it started. Now, if I say since 2007, well, now it is 2010. So how many years is that? Well, that's 3 years. If you want to say 3 years, we use for 3 years. For 3 years is the same thing as since 2007. Don't use the word ago with present perfect. Ago is only for the past tense. Okay? Please remember, do not use ago. Many students make mistakes and they say since 3 weeks ago. No. Just say 3 weeks, okay, for 3 weeks. Do not use ago in present perfect. Please remember, we are using present perfect simple with state verbs or present perfect continuous with dynamic verbs to talk about the duration, how long, about situations that are not finished. Okay? If I say, I have been in this country for 2 years, what does that mean now? That means now I am in this country. I have had a dog for 6 years. What does that mean about me now? That means now I have a dog. Remember to use past tenses if it's finished. If you want to talk about how long for a finished thing, we need past tenses. Okay? So if I say I lived in Australia for 6 years, what does that mean about me now? That means now I don't live in Australia. He was a student for 10 years. What does that mean about him now? Now he is not a student. Now, finally, we're going to talk about asking. How do you ask a question? How do you ask about how long? Well, we can use how long, the question how long with present perfect. Okay, so how long have you been here? How long have you been here? Another example, how long have you been married? How long have you had your computer? One more example, how long have you been studying English? But we have to understand that how long have you, we use the verb that's not finished. Well, it's the same meaning if we use a different verb with the past tense. So let's look at these examples here. How long have you been here? How long have you been here is the same thing as when did you come here, right? When did you come here is the same meaning as how long have you been here. Another example, first you meet somebody, right? And then it's finished. So now I know the person. So know is not finished. Meet is finished. So if I want to know how long? Well, of course, how long have you known him or her? Same thing, when did you meet him? When did you meet her? It's raining. How long? Well, how long has it been raining? It's the same thing as when did it rain? No. When did it start raining? Okay, so that is present perfect duration.